Hello again everybody, Sam here, otherwise known as Skullgorn, for back again for another video, and I currently just got in through the door. As you can probably see, I'm still wearing my jacket, and I'm wearing a cowboy hat for some reason. I'm doing my least best cosplay of Grufflock for some reason, but you know, it's just not for me. So which is funny because I remember saying a while ago, back when I was going through my phase of saying that I would do certain videos in a certain style that would work. It never really caught on, and I said one of them would be I'd be wearing a cowboy hat and whatnot. But you know what? Like it's not worth it, and it's just not my style. Gruffluck does it better than me, which explains why there hasn't been a convention called GruffCon where everybody comes dressed as Adam Nickel, which I will talk about later on in the video because he is the crucial part of this video. But yes, back to another video, doing another rambling, talking vlog thing, because I'm in a much better mood now, because I've got something that I really want to talk about. Because the last one I did, I was just feeling like, bleh. So I'm feeling much more positive, I'm feeling a little bit more awake, and I'm feeling a little bit more energized, and drinking orange juice. So I'm going to be talking a lot throughout this video. But anyway, yes, back for another video. How's everybody doing? Are you all well? Leave a comment telling me if you are, and then that's good. Yes, so, back for another video, and I've been saying that now for a little bit, but anyway. Yes, this particular video that I'm talking about, I'm just going to talk, because there's some things I really want to talk about that I really wanted to just, mention / retort in the last video that I did, because the last video that I did quite recently, I was just very depressed and very miserable because I had found out that I had basically not passed the criteria of the work that I was doing. I had talked to my tutor about them. For some reason, he really didn't seem to care. So there's some bullshit that I have to do about resubmitting my work, and hopefully that won't revolve around me having to do the entire thing all over again, because otherwise that would just take far too long, and it would just take up way too much of my time, which I want to use for other things. But you know what? Work's work at the end of the day, so whether or not it ends up doing what it should do, then I think in a lot of ways it can satisfy both people on both the marks. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, when you're doing like work for something, and then you get told that the work that you've done is not good enough, even though you really put your whole heart and soul into the project that you were doing, and you basically just got rejected by a teacher, or, as I think a lot of people would normally say about people who don't know what they're talking about, giver of information, which I think some of them are when it comes down to the. I mean, I grew up having basically givers of information that didn't really help me all that much, get me through college and get me through school. But I'm not going to dwell on it. I will get around to that when I do, which is why I'm working on another project, which will probably not take nearly as much time, although I have to have it finished by the end of the month. Which is basically revolved around music videos, and I'm going to be shooting a music video. In fact, I'm going to be shooting the majority of the stuff that I'm doing on this, which I have not used. Remember this? I'm pretty sure some of you do. This camcorder, which I was using to do my handheld reviews, which I sort of stopped doing for a while. I'm going to be using a little bit more for my project, so I've been just focusing a little bit more on that. And you know, when it comes right down to it, I'm not much of a filmmaker, even though this is what... I wouldn't exactly consider this to be exactly filmmaking. I mean, you're sitting in front of a webcam, just talking and moving your hands around and expressing your opinions vocally, which that doesn't really count as filmmaking unless you want to make something out of it. But yeah, I don't really consider myself that much of a filmmaker, but it'll be fun to experiment around with, and I'm doing my project by myself. Everybody else is doing theirs in different groups, but I want to do it by myself, just as a way of kind of really getting one of the stories that I really wanted to do, that I want to do, done my way. Wait, I know that's not a good thing when you want to say that you want to do something your way. It has to be done the way that it meets the satisfaction of the person in charge of the project that they're organizing, that you have to do. Well, yeah, that's true. But then again, if you're doing something that you really know that you're going to put your energy and soul into, and you're going to enjoy, you know to the nth degree what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And to the best of your abilities that you can do it whether you always know you can. So I think that's really what it comes down to. So I'm going to be working on that, and it's going to be a very long experience. A very long experiment, which I hope it won't take very long, because I do have other things to do, and with the year slowly declining, I want to make sure that I do the work that I end up doing and I don't get held back on Christmas Eve. I hope that doesn't happen, because I get the feeling that whenever a person in a higher education threatens you in that bullshit, it ultimately it's a scare tactic in a lot of ways. But you know what? If it's a scare tactic that might actually happen, then let's see where they go with that. But yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. And speaking of which, I've been busy, which I'm gonna talk about in a lot more detail. But I think at the moment, though, the one thing I want to talk about a little bit more is that some big news, which is I'm quite excited about, and I didn't get the chance to talk about it while I was doing the last video, because it was just so bleh, and someone mentioned it, and I am grateful to this person. I think if he's watching this, then you already know who you are. But I am now a co-host on a podcast called the Cyberritz, which, if you don't know what the Cyberritz is, and I'm pretty sure some of you out there do, but if you don't, I'll leave the link to the thing in the syphilis bar below. It is a Facebook group, which of course you get to talk about 80s or 90s or current anime. So any anime from the past or the present or the future, and if you really want to get into any sort of heated discussion about it, then you can go over there and join the group itself. It's a really nice group. There are some really good people on there. I am a admin on there. I'm really, really chuffed about that. I am very honored for this responsibility. I was featured as well on an episode called Otaku Basement, which the link is below, and I'm excited about it, because not only is it something that I love, not only is anime a genre, something that I really love in animation, but it's one thing that I will go off talking about for a while. So yeah, don't get me started on anime, because otherwise I'm going to be talking about it for a very long time. And when it comes to me in anime, I'm always very hyped about certain kinds of anime that I really grew up on in the mid to late 90s. But yeah, I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk about that in the past video that I did, and I really wish I did, because that was a positive thing about that. And I was just being like, bleh, negative shit. But mistakes are made. We move on from that. So yeah, I mean, go check out the group. Go listen to the Otaku Basement episode that I'm on. Go over there. If you love anime, then that's the best place to be. And speaking of podcasts, mentioning the Old Oilhouse very quickly, because this is a very important thing that I really want to bring up, because it's competition time in that group, and in that specific competition, I'm looking at the actual competition itself. There is going to be an arts competition, and the theme of course is based around 80s toys, 90s extreme, which basically the whole idea is draw something of an 80s brand, but add a little bit of an extreme feel to that. I'm already drawing my submission at the moment. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I'll just show it to you anyway. Just quickly. So it's far from finished, but I really want to. I'm really quite excited about it, so I'm putting all my energy into this. But yeah, at the moment I started it today, so I'm going to try and finish it tonight if possible, because I might not get another chance to when being swamped with so much work. So yeah, if you want to go and enter the competition, then all you need to do is just go to the link below, and all the information that you need to do to submit the piece that you're doing is worth it. Also, go listen to the Old Oilhouse podcast as well. I mean, Grufflock is a great host, as is everybody else who's on that side of Facebook and that podcast as well. So it's a fun podcast to really listen to, especially as well. I mean, some fine people I met at Auto Assembly as well. So if you are a fan of that sort of thing, go over there and check it out. But yeah, I mean, that's what this video is. So, just me waffling on, because this is what it is, waffle, 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 and really just feeling a little bit more energetic and more positive today, because I really had a thought about it. And, you know, it's, being negative and being bitter is never a good thing. And this is sounding a little bit hypocritical, coming from the person who was bitter and cynical and negative on the Tuesday that I recorded the last video that I did. So yeah, enough of that. Because the one thing that you need to do in life is to forget the shit that makes you miserable and move on from that and try and find a better life for yourself. And I suppose that the best way that I can really summarize how I feel about shit that really depresses me is that, like I said, depression is a very common thing that happens with me, but I try not to let it get to me as much unless it's really, 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 really like knife in the back deep depression, which I try not to let it bother me as much, but it often does get to me, and when it does, it can like zonk me out for a while, but then when I'm busy, it often gets better. So yeah, I think the best way that I can really look back on that is to look at the idea of failure and how if you do something that you are basically being told to do, and you don't complete it, or you do complete it in the way that you know you can, and you basically get rejected for the work that you do. I'm not saying give in to that, because otherwise it's like saying give into your level of adequacy, which I think in a lot of ways is not fair. Because being adequate is never a good thing, and being inadequate is certainly not a good thing either. Bring the best of who you are to what you do. Regardless of what someone in a higher education thinks of you. I mean, their opinion doesn't matter. But, and especially, I mean, when you look at the idea of failure and how that affects people who are creative and quote-unquote famous. I mean, just look at Walt Disney. I mean, I don't know why I'm bringing up Walt Disney all of a sudden, but then again, he never suffered from failure. I mean, he suffered from constant rejection before he eventually got the green light to eventually do one of the things that he said he was going to do, and that got him in a higher stake in his career as an animator, and then eventually to producer, and then he made his first film with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So I don't know why I'm talking about Disney that much. I say I'm not a big Disney fan. I like Disney, but even then, it has its limits. But yeah, I don't know why I'm going anymore with this, so I'm just gonna end the video here before I run out of things to say. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm gonna try and decrease the amount of these specific videos and actually do a video that's worth talking about, because I miss being on camera. I miss talking about just what I love and what I talk about. So yeah, I mean, go check out the Cyberritz. Go listen to the Old Oilhouse. Go into the competition if you want, and I will see you all soon. Take care.